Thank you for tuning in to Entertain the Geeky, your source for nerd news.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Jason back at you with more nerd news. So here we are, full circle with our road to the Infinity War.
Yeah.
It seems like only yesterday we started watching these movies, and now we're here. We're going to be at the end.
Yeah, it's been a lot longer than yesterday.
That's Joe, by the way, back with us here this week again for Road to Infinity War Phase 3.
Yes.
But yeah, it's so obviously Phase 1 and 2 we're just set up. I mean, this is really where it's all coming
the real
full circle.
culmination.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's weird to think we won't even get the full culmination this year because Avengers 4 is next year.
It's true, but between Avengers 4, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I'm very much looking forward to.
Yeah.
And we have Captain Marvel, which should blow everybody away.
Yeah.
Because they're introducing the Skrulls and the possibility of Secret Invasion in the future.
I need that.
I do need that. That would be amazing.
Phase 3 began with the fantastic Civil War.
Yeah, so
Captain America's third film.
We didn't talk about this last time, but or no, we did. I think we did talk about this last time. Actually, was they were doing the 2 movies a year thing,
Yeah.
and 2016 marked the last year of 2 movies a year.
Yeah.
Because 2017 started the trend of 3.
Yeah.
So 2016 gave us Captain America: Civil War in May and Doctor Strange in November.
Right.
And Kevin Feige said it. They did like a Road to Infinity War video on like the first day of shooting.
Did they?
When they first started shooting Infinity War, and they were talking to Kevin Feige, and he said one of the things I quoted in an article I wrote recently about Phase 3 was, how do you take the Avengers and put them up against an enemy like Thanos, who is more powerful than any enemy they've ever faced, and yet make them completely unprepared to face him?
Right.
You tear them apart.
Yeah.
And that's what Civil War served as was, we're gonna tear these people down so that the uniting thing again will be Thanos.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it works.
No, it worked fantastic having this rift open up between them because I mean, when they came together, we talked about this. I'm pretty sure a little bit with Phase 1 where like they weren't friends.
No.
They did. Most of them didn't even like each other. They had a job to do.
It was necessity.
And a big part of Phase 2 leading up to this was like, yeah, they had a little bit of that with like Ultron, but like they didn't have as much like gluing them together anymore.
Right.
But because of these like big events, we suddenly had the Accords and politics really coming into play about it, especially since like S.H.I.E.L.D. went down because of like espionage and whatnot from Hydra.
Yeah, the Avengers are operating as a singular entity.
Yeah,
and Tony Stark is bankrolling a superhero team.
And we super had some divide and conquer politics, like script-wise, for the movie to separate these characters, because of course they're not going to all have the same political opinion.
Right.
Like, that's just not realistic.
Yeah, no, I get it, yeah. And honestly, I think, people give Captain America Civil War crap because it's basically just another Avengers movie.
I mean, yeah.
And while I do think that's
to a degree,
true, yeah.
But I mean, like, we're still hardcore following Steve. Like, Steve
it's
is
still Steve's story.
Yeah, it is. Steve's perspective is the one we're following, period, through the film.
Right.
And kind of geared towards, like, that's the one you're supposed to agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, I mean, the lines are drawn very quickly between the characters. Some tragedy comes Steve's way. We finally get the end of Peggy.
Yeah.
Peggy dies, which is a sad moment because as we've started to do little flashbacks in these movies, Peggy was a huge part of everything that S.H.I.E.L.D. became.
Yeah.
Peggy is probably the one responsible for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh,
If you trace it back all the way to, like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter and stuff like that.
No, if it hadn't been for her actions after Steve got lost in the Arctic, like, S.H.I.E.L.D. wouldn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
We never would have had Coulson.
Yeah, that's true.
We wouldn't have had Nick Fury.
I mean,
none of it.
Black Widow and Hawkeye couldn't have come into the story in the same way.
Yeah, not at all. Like, she'd still be like some pseudo-Russian spy.
Yeah, breaking the law and lying to everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, Civil War was great, not only because of all of that, but we got introduced to a couple of brand new characters through the film's narrative. First was T'Challa and T'Chaka, which would, the Black Panther and his father.
Yeah.
And in all reality, I mean, we were all excited to finally see Black Panther on screen because it meant we're getting close to that Black Panther movie.
Yeah.
And he's great.
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman, fantastic.
Chadwick Boseman was a perfect pick. He is fantastic.
Yeah, he really just nails the attitude of T'Challa, the relationship that T'Challa has with his father. It really just gets it. The emotion that comes along with it, the vengeance to go after Bucky, who he thinks is responsible. It all just works really well. It leads to Captain America then having to protect Bucky against him, and just so good.
What might be the least campy version of Baron Zemo ever?
Yeah, he's not a big guy in a purple hood.
Yeah, exactly.
All the Phantom style.
He always reminded me of like Cobra Commander in the comics.
Cobra Commander. Did you ever watch Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, X the Eliminator?
Yes. God, Harvey Birdman. But yeah, no, like the actor they picked for him did a great job, and he's this
Daniel Bruhl.
Yeah,
he was great. Yeah,
he's got such a hardcore path, and like that culmination at the end where he's talking about like you don't break an empire by attacking it, you destroy it from within.
Yeah,
like
his plan actually works really well.
It does,
and it seems convoluted, but
it's definitely convoluted, but it's a beautiful,
but it works.
Divide and conquer politic thing.
Yeah,
that straight breaks the characters. And I mean, it still breaks my heart. Like Cap knew the whole time.
He did.
Like that sucks.
Well, he didn't know the whole time. So.
Well, he knew.
I mean, he knew. A while. He knew because when he was talking to Zola in Winter Soldier,
right.
He talks about how when people got in Hydra's way, they had to be taken out using accidents.
Well, he's known for a while.
Yeah.
And, like, don't get me wrong, like, it's kind of a cliche, but I totally understand, like, the whole, like, I'm going to protect my friend by not telling them this awful knowledge.
But I was actually just protecting myself.
Yeah, like it's a bit of a cliche, but it's 100% Steve.
That's true. Yeah.
And perfectly works in this situation. And of course, Tony goes off the rails because he's always mentally unstable, anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, and then obviously, the other big character we get introduced to, and I think there was nobody that wasn't excited when Tony said, when Black Widow asked Tony, "Where's yours?" and the next scene is a title card for Queens.
Yeah.
And everybody, I mean, I know me personally, I lost it.
Yeah.
I was so excited to have Peter Parker now a part of this, and a teenage Peter Parker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like,
actual teenage Peter Parker.
Yeah, this isn't adult Spider-Man.
It's not, post-college. It's not post-high school. It is freshman.
6 months in to be a superhero.
It is freshman Peter Parker. He's still wearing, like, the cut-off hoodie and tights.
Oh, man.
Like, he doesn't have an actual costume yet.
Yeah.
He's great.
And Tom Holland is fantastic.
Yeah.
And they found a way, one of the things that really, really stands out to me is they found a way to do the classic, great power, great responsibility, which we've all heard so many times at this point, without actually saying it.
Yeah.
Because he says, when you can do the things that I can, but you don't, and then the bad things happen, they happen because of you.
Right.
And that, I think, the reason I think that works so well, and that this is Tony's the one recruiting him, and from Tony's point of view, Peter is on Cap's side. Right?
Yeah.
Like, Tony's got to understand that when he's sitting talking to this little kid, the way this little kid feels is absolutely in support of Cap's ideology that, no, you have power, you have to use it.
Yeah.
You use it, you do good.
Yeah.
Because if stuff happens because you didn't, you're responsible.
Yeah.
And it kind of, you can see in Tony's face a tender moment, I think, between Peter where he feels for Captain America's point of view.
Yeah. For sure.
Which is why he probably ends up mentoring him in the Spider-Man Homecoming film.
Oh, absolutely.
But obviously this leads to what we were all waiting for, was a big giant battle between all the Avengers.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic.
It was a sweet scene. Like, it's got brilliant humor intermixed with great choreography.
Yeah. The action is solid. The CG looks good.
I love Falcon and Bucky trying to deal with Spider-Man while
Yeah.
absolutely hating each other.
Yeah.
Like, they super do not get along.
Mhm.
And I think it's... I still love the idea that they just don't, because they both want to be Cap's best friends, because they are from different eras, so they're competing.
I
Yeah,
mean, for sure.
It's absolutely like a measuring contest.
Also,
between them.
I mean, Sam has had to, like, for months and months and months, years, track down Bucky,
Yeah.
right? So he's
Yeah.
probably just pissed at all the crap he's had to deal with and trying to track him down.
And then it still it culminates and finishes with like one of the scenes that like still punches me in the chest every time I watch it in the MCU, and that's the Brody falling out of the sky.
Oh, War Machine.
Yeah,
Yeah, Rhodey.
yeah. Rhodey, like when his suit goes dark
Mm-hmm.
and like flying dead stick.
Yeah,
like every time, because like it's the way, especially like whoever orchestrated the sound for that movie was a brilliant genius with giving me just that light tension music, and then it cuts out just in time for you to hear him hit the ground.
Yep.
With a nice solid thump.
Absolutely.
And you're just, ugh! No, every time it punches me straight in the chest.
Yeah.
And it's mortifying.
Yeah. So yeah, Civil War, it all comes full circle. We get a little post-credit scene with Spider-Man assuring us as fans Spider-Man will return. He's going to be a part of this now.
Yeah.
And going forward from there, we were introduced to another brand new character in Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Yeah.
From November of that year.
Really good movie.
I am still amazed to this day that they got Benedict Cumberbatch to come play the character. The director knew that's who he wanted, but they weren't sure they were going to be able to get that guy to come in.
It doesn't surprise me, A, just from his workload schedule, and then B, like just how big of an actor he is.
Yeah, he's huge. He's one of the hugest stars in the world right now.
Yeah. Even before this, like, for sure, one of the biggest, most popular, like, everybody wants him kind of actors, and like, but they got him. He
and
was
it's
perfect.
great. Yeah,
perfect.
I mean, he's basically, Magic Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's fine. I like it. I think it works. And he's Magic Tony Stark in the comics too. Great. I think it works.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
this
absolutely.
arrogant guy who's so good at what he does.
Yeah. Like,
he gets humbled.
I'm curious when they end up in a room together finally, if the room will just explode because it can't contain both egos. But no, it was really well done. The visuals are stunning.
Yeah.
With the magic.
It's an acid trip on film.
Yeah. Like, that was one of those ones, like, for sure I didn't want to see in 3D because I didn't know if I could handle that roller coaster.
No, I think I would have been barfing in my seat.
Probably. Like, ooh.
But it's fun. It introduces us to the magical side of the earthly Marvel characters.
Yeah.
It introduces us for the first time to the idea of the multiverse in the Marvel universe, which is great.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things you can do with that. It also had a lot of controversy attached to it because the Ancient One is played by a white person as opposed to an Asian person.
Right.
And I honestly, I understand both sides of this argument. I understand the purist side of the argument that says, you know what, this is more respectful to use this source material, especially for, inclusion and representation and stuff like that. I also understand the other side where, the idea is anyone can be the Ancient One. It doesn't have to be an Asian person. It doesn't have to be a white person.
Right. We don't need to step into that cliche specifically.
It's just a title that's passed down from master to master.
Right.
So, I think Tilda Swinton does a fine job in the movie. I think she's great. I think she's a fun part of it. And the little kind of betrayal that kind of goes on behind the scenes with her using the dark dimension to be immortal.
Yeah, not the biggest reveal I've ever had in a movie, to be sure.
But it works. And it shatters Mordo, which is important. Right?
Yes.
We have to turn Mordo from a good guy into a bad guy.
Yes.
And the sequel, I'm sure the villain is going to be Mordo because they'd be stupid not
to.
The
Magic Punisher.
Yeah.
As he will be.
Yeah. So it's important to shatter Mordo's perspective on the sorcerers because she's breaking the laws of nature.
And then, most importantly for setup, this is another Infinity Stone.
The Time Stone.
Yeah.
In the Eye of Agamotto.
Yeah. We're finally counting down on our list of all the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
Real hard.
Yeah, the Time Stone was the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was the last Infinity Stone we were introduced to because
Yeah.
we still have not seen the Soul Stone.
Yeah, no idea where that one is.
Yeah, so we've got all of them except for the Soul Stone.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yeah, that's a big continuity thing.
Yeah, so we now know where 5 of the stones are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Doctor Strange winds to an interesting kind of another trippy mind bending conclusion with his time struggle with Dormammu, which was a great way to end the movie.
Oh yeah,
It shows someone using their brains instead of their brawn to win.
Instead of having this big epic battle
Yep.
like we had
It's just a little
puzzle.
showdown.
Yeah. Yeah, like who can outlast each other.
Yep.
Like, yeah, sure, I keep dying and it sucks, but like you'll can't
never
handle
win.
time.
Yeah, you'll never win.
Yeah. Like I'm willing to do that.
Yeah.
It was great.
And I was hoping when we were leading up to Doctor Strange that they would go that route, that we would see that his mind is his weapon, right? Not necessarily his brawn or his ability as a sorcerer. He's just smart. He's a smart man, and he understands how to look beyond a situation to discern its outcome.
Right.
And
Next
then,
one
that led us into Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which
at the beginning of
2017. So this 2017 marked the first year that 3 movies a year were going to come out.
Yeah, we're going to have one early, one in the summer, and one in the fall.
Yeah, it started in May with Guardians, led into summer with Spider-Man, and to fall with Thor.
Yeah.
But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, finally the movie James Gunn wanted to make that wasn't having to be building things, didn't have any interference from the outside.
Well, it was one of those ones we had to figure out for a second where it goes in the timeline because it takes place 3 days.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think they go with like a month or so, right? Or a couple months.
It's basically right after the original.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a continuation.
Yeah.
And it's great. I mean, all the characters coming back together, they're all very funny. I think there's a problem with Drax that I foresee happening is that Drax has to be the comic relief because he's kind of dumb when it comes to communicating with normal people.
Right.
But I think they're leaning a little bit too hard into that.
Yeah.
I'll dial it back because you could very quickly turn Drax into a goofy character.
The 2 main problems I had with that film is they leaned into Drax a little too hard and a little too hard into Baby Groot.
See, I love Baby Groot. I mean, Baby Groot's adorable.
That's fair.
It's a marketing tactic to sell toys.
It's what I like to call the Adam Sandler conundrum. And I say this because, like, he'll come out with a fun movie and then make a sequel where it leans too hard onto the things that were, like, kind of funny about the first one.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, overplaying those jokes kind of thing. Like, and Guardians kind of fell into this trap. Not a lot. Not enough to where I couldn't enjoy it.
Right.
But a little bit.
I mean, yeah, I like Baby Groot, and I'm aware that it's just a way to sell toys. I get that.
Oh yeah, no, that opening credit scene was everything I was worried it was going to be.
That didn't stop me from enjoying Baby Groot.
I mean,
I think he's
I'm not
fun.
Super
I think he's
mad
cute.
at it.
I think it's ingenious that he doesn't understand basic reality yet because his people are so different.
He's a baby.
Well, also his people are so different. Right?
Yeah,
they have a hard time understanding the regular universe when they're adults.
Yeah.
Right? Let alone when they're fresh, brand new little planets, right? So I think it was a really kind of good comic relief thing they threw in there.
For sure.
But getting Ego into the story, I think, was really awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And getting to see, if honestly, if I would have got through that movie and not seen the planet with a face on it, I would have been angry.
Oh, yeah. No.
And it happened. We get the planet with the face of Ego.
I was a little worried we weren't going to get that for a while, but we finally did. Towards the climax, and it was beautiful.
We should put all our faith in James Gunn, apparently. That man understands the cosmic universe.
Trust him to do his thing, and it'll be fine.
Also introducing us to the original Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, obviously in the first movie we got Yondu, which was a connection back to that. But now we got Starhawk and Charlie 27, you know, and all of these characters that were just original Guardians of the Galaxy. Played by some really cool cameos, right? So you got Sylvester Stallone in there, you got Ving Rhames in there, you got Michelle Yeoh in there. Like, these were great little cameos for people. Even Miley Cyrus pops up, which I thought was weird. As the voice, she's the voice of the little robot head at the end. I missed you guys so much! That's Miley Cyrus.
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it's funny.
That's kind of great.
But yeah, honestly, this movie, I think, was the first time a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie made me, like, really emotional.
Yeah, it definitely did with me with Yondu. Like, I've got some daddy issues, as part of that.
Sure,
Just because
yeah.
I have a stepfather.
Right.
Like, so, like, the whole, like, he may be your father, but he ain't your daddy thing. Like, that hit
Yeah.
home
Yeah.
for lots of reasons.
Sure.
So, like, yeah, no, it was a super emotional...
Well, and then the
Because of
song,
Yeah.
the father and son,
Yeah, yeah.
like,
Like,
it's just the whole scene. I
yeah,
was just
playing
like
on the family
Niagara
dynamic.
Falls.
Yeah.
You know, just
Yeah.
tears.
And then they rip that away with you with the, like, it sucked to kill her.
Right.
What?
Yeah. And it's
Giving her cancer.
It's just a fun movie. It doesn't
is.
really try to do much to set up the bigger
No,
universe.
like you said, it was the Guardians movie James Gunn wanted to
Yeah.
make. It wasn't hardcore, like, world building at all. It was just a fun Guardians movie.
Right. If anything, the only thing it sets up for the future is that when we get to Infinity War, Groot's going to be a teenager.
Yeah. No. And Warlock.
Well, that's true. It did set up Adam Warlock.
It did set up Warlock.
Unfortunately, we won't get in time for Infinity War or its sequel, but James Gunn has definitely promised to do something with Adam Warlock in the third Guardians
I'm cool
movie.
with that.
I'll wait. Yeah, I'll
I'm
wait.
a patient person.
I
at
like
this
Warlock.
point.
And I think that could fit really well into a post-Infinity War world where the stones now have to be protected.
Yeah.
And you get Adam Warlock to protect one of the stones.
Yeah,
right?
Like, that'd be
probably the
great
Soul
way
Stone, because that'd be a great way to then connect it back to the fact that he's always been connected to the Soul Stone in the comics.
Exactly.
Right?
People
are going to have to protect these things. That's going to happen.
So then in the summer, we finally got the Spider-Man movie we've been dreaming about since...
Spider-Man was a movie.
Yeah. like we got teenage goofy Peter Parker, and then Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and
a perfect Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, he was.
And I think the reason it works so well is I saw a goofy little meme that, showed Tobey Maguire that said, I really want Mary Jane to love me. And then they showed Andrew Garfield and it said, oh man, I really want Gwen Stacy to love me. And then it showed Tom Holland and it said, oh man, I really want to be an Avenger. And I was like, that's it. That's the problem with Spider-Man movies. You make it too much about the love story between Peter and a woman, and it doesn't need to be about that.
No.
It really doesn't.
No, it needs to
be. It can have that.
It needs to be the fact that he's a young superhero that idolizes superheroes.
Yeah, he wants to just be a part of this big superhero team that's going around saving the world.
I do think one of my favorite things about it, though, is that beginning scene that takes place like a week after Avengers.
Yeah.
With all the construction workers dealing with the Chitauri, because that was world building in an introspective way, and I really liked those kinds of details in a story. Like when I write stories for D&D and stuff, like I aspire to have that kind of thing. Right. And like getting that on screen, you don't do that a lot.
Right, and always we talked about it,
like
a couple weeks ago.
A bigger world building picture.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple weeks ago when we did Phase 1 about the incident, right? This is and it, so getting something that also ties back to Avengers as a cataclysmic event that changed this world.
Yeah, reminding us.
Yeah,
because at this point, like that came out in 2017. Avengers came out 2011, 12.
Yep.
So it's been 5 years.
Yeah.
So
and they've called back to it in other ways through the television shows.
This was a harder reminder.
But this was they're
freshly
below.
Destroyed New York and Stark Tower. And, yeah. So like that was nice.
Yeah.
And then like the whole the Vulture is a really relatable villain.
He is.
Like
I think that was what they were going for, right?
Yeah, no, they did a great job of setting him up as like this family dad who's just trying to provide, and like the government screwed him over, so he did what he saw as what he had to, to like help provide.
And
for
what the
family.
law saw is crime,
criminal
activity.
I mean,
selling black market weapons,
but he did what he had to survive from the options he was given by his perspective and the situation, and like it's just real hard not to kind of root for him a little bit, like And
honestly, I think what makes Spider-Man, what makes the movie work so well, aside from Tom Holland and the villainy, is the supporting cast is great. The kids that they got to play these kids, they're great.
Yeah.
They're all great actors. They're all having a lot of fun with their role, clearly. And Peter's got a sidekick in Ned.
Yeah.
Which is weird because, Ned Leeds is Peter's friend. Ned, this character, I think is supposed to be Ned Leeds, but he's more like Ganke from the Miles Morales Spider-Man story.
Yeah.
but whatever.
Whatever. Again, pulling from Ultimate Universe for the movie influence.
Right. It's good to have a sidekick for Peter that knows his identity. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
And he references being the guy in the chair, which is just a funny thing that superheroes like Alfred and Oracle for the whole DC universe for a long time, right? Like just
it's a good superhero cliche.
Yeah. And it winds to a great conclusion. I mean, we really see why Spider-Man is one of the most noble, one of the best heroes that the Marvel universe has to offer.
Yeah.
And they really took advantage of that. They really just showed this good kid who wants to change the world.
Yeah. It's just a real nice kid with very, very little, like, in his perspective besides, like, do good, even if it's a little reckless.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah, and so, the post-credit scenes for that were really just setting up their future movies. I think they're going to do Sinister Six, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that. I think that's going to be great, because we definitely got introduced to Shocker, we got introduced to Scorpion.
Mm-hmm.
So these are definitely characters that we could put together to form a team that tries to stop the Spider-Man.
Easily.
And I think that'll be great. But it really, those post-credit scenes are just setting up its own narrative. It really doesn't try to set up anything else.
And then we ended the year with Ragnarok.
With the final, I mean, when you look at everything full circle, this was the conclusion of the trilogies that started this all.
Yeah.
Right? You had Iron Man's trilogy, which concluded very quickly. You had Captain America's trilogy, which concluded here at the beginning of Phase 3. And right here near the finale, we closed Thor's trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they brought in Taika Waititi. They couldn't have asked for a better guy to do that movie.
No, it was so good.
He's so great. He has such a good sense of humor. He has such a good handle on the fantastic and the cosmic. It was fantastic.
No, it was a great kind of campy sci-fi film, a la Guardians of the Galaxy.
And I think that's a huge influence on this, right?
Absolutely.
They realized, if we're going to do movies that take place off of Earth,
and
this is the good formula for that.
Yeah, and it's definitely not derivative. And, I will joke about how, I love Guardians 3 when I talk about Ragnarok, just because it does have a major influence, but it wasn't detrimental at all, and I don't mean that in anything other than, a playful, loving way.
Sure.
I love Ragnarok. It is a fantastic film. We finally got the helmet.
Yeah.
The actual helmet.
Well, so he wore the helmet in the very first scene of Thor.
Yeah, for 5 seconds.
He did. When he was at his little coronation, he was supposed to be crowned king.
Whatever, we got a way cooler helmet.
It was.
That I need to build.
It did look a lot better.
I want to actually build a DOT one that I can wear on a motorcycle that'll save my head in crashes.
That would be cool.
I'm gonna.
I'm not denying that.
It'll be a thing.
That would be raw.
I mean, to do that.
But it's a fantastic Thor movie with a really awesome Planet Hulk movie right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And that I think was great, too.
I think the only thing that kind of sucks is, the first 20 minutes is a hardcore info dump. A lot happens real fast in the movie. But once you get past Odin's death and Hela's introduction, the pacing
smooths out.
Much better smooths out.
Yeah.
They had a lot to get through and very quickly at the start of the film. But there's a couple things in there that were really good jokes. Loki falling for 30 minutes, is still one of my favorite things.
And then the decapitated head of a dragon and then, getting sucked up into the Bifrost.
One of the things I really have a question about the Doctor Strange scene, and this isn't a bug thing. It's more as a person, I'm always that guy who I want to know how magic works. Right. I need to know, on a physical, chemical level, how it works with physics and whatnot. During Doctor Strange, when we saw him using magic, there were fiery lines and runes and whatnot, from everybody, right? And in this, he's, just transporting both him and Thor around without nary a wave of his hand.
It's not teleportation in the same way you would expect. At least in the comic world, the Sanctum is sentient. And
that's fair.
It reacts to the thoughts of Doctor Strange and changes accordingly.
You get the same thing with initially Thor has a cup of tea in his hand, and then it just turns into a giant mug of beer. And
theoretically, that could be the House as well, though, reacting to Doctor Strange and Thor's own thoughts.
I won't disagree with that, and I'm perfectly fine with it. Right. I just, it was different than the magic we had seen before, and I like that. I need to know more details, because I'm that guy.
Maybe it's like cantrips.
Way over-analyze Harry Potter. Ask my wife.
Sure. Maybe it's like cantrips. Maybe he can just do that without thinking. It's just a thing you can
at
do.
will spells.
Right, just at will spell. I
For-
can just teleport at will.
I mean, I believe
I don't have to do any kind of Rooney
I
thing.
believe like food and drink is a first level spell, so I can accept that.
Right, sure.
Yeah. but anyways, once we get past that, like, yeah,
it becomes a Planet Hulk movie for a minute.
Yeah,
and it's great.
And
Hulk
you get
talks.
Jeff Goldblum.
Goldbluming it up as the Grandmaster, man. He is so good.
And he went for it. Like, they just put Goldblum in a costume and let him do his thing.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful.
So this is your motivation. Come up with whatever lines you want.
Yeah. No. And
he just went,
we'll just act around you. It'll be fine.
But yeah, we got to see, the kind of development of the Hulk as a more intellectual being.
Yeah.
Yes, he's not very intellectual at this point, but he can speak, he can communicate with people. He does remember Thor.
Right.
He does think he's his friend. He's getting more emotive as we go along. And I think the leading up to Infinity War, I think that's why the speculation has come up that the person actually wearing that Hulkbuster suit is actually Bruce Banner, because he doesn't want to change again, because he's worried if he changes again, he might never return.
I hadn't thought about that.
Right. That's a theory that's come. And in the most recent trailer, obviously we see, Outriders ripping the armor apart. And it's thought that that's the moment when he says, well, screw it, I gotta be Hulk.
Yeah.
And that Hulk rips his way out of the armor.
Oh, that's a good possibility.
Which would be awesome to see on screen, let's be honest. But we definitely get in Thor Ragnarok that Banner is afraid to become Hulk again.
Yeah. No, then we get a really good psychological look at Banner, especially once he's already worried about it real hard, and then once he realizes he's been the Hulk for 2 years, he's just full blown panic and twitchy for the rest of the film.
He has a great analogy that he uses to do that. He says, in the past I always felt like me and the Hulk each had a hand on the wheel, but this time it was like he had the keys and I was locked in the trunk.
Yeah.
And there are scenes with the Hulk where he's not angry. Yeah. He's not mad. He's having a conversation, and he's able to maintain the Hulk.
No, which I like about that is that I feel is like a mirror throwback in a way to the line in Avengers of "That's my secret cap. I'm angry all the time."
I'm always angry.
What if Hulk is starting to learn how to be Hulk but be calm?
Right. Well, and that's the thing, right? Bruce opened the door for the Hulk to learn.
Yeah.
Bruce opened the door by gaining control.
Yeah.
And now the Hulk is able to gain more control. If Bruce can gain more, the Hulk can gain more.
For sure.
And so I think it's a great narrative that is really kind of got a cool Jekyll and Hyde thing going on.
Yeah.
And it winds down to Ragnarok, which is what its namesake is, the destruction of Asgard.
Yeah, Asgard is not saved.
Yeah, no, Asgard falls. No. They cause it. They help cause it. And Loki gets his hands on the Tesseract again.
Yep. Of course he does.
Well, it's really his only bargaining chip at this point.
Surprising no one but everyone, Thor loses an eye.
Yeah, Thor did lose an eye. The hammer's destroyed. Obviously, he's going to need a new weapon.
Yeah. Well, no one was surprised about that. That was in the trailer.
Yeah, that was in the trailer. So yeah, I mean, it was a good movie. It's definitely the best Thor movie, and it's probably if I reassessed the list recently, it's probably in my top 5.
Oh, easily.
Yeah,
for sure.
And its post-credit scenes set up what is sure to be the final destruction of Asgard. They run into Sanctuary. They run into Thanos' flagship.
Yeah,
in the post-credit scene.
No, that would super explain some of the stuff we've seen in Infinity War's trailers, where it looks like Thor is imprisoned by Thanos,
hanging out with the Guardians of the Galaxy for a little while because they rescue him. Or
Loki stepping over Asgardian bodies while holding the Tesseract. He's trying to save his own butt.
Well, yeah, he failed. This is his final redemption of failing to get the Tesseract so long ago. Look, I got it for you, bro.
I got it. It didn't go as well as I wanted it to.
Exactly. I took the roundabout way, but I got it.
Right.
Yeah. It's his final bargaining chip for his life, I think, at this point.
Yeah, which may or may not work because Thanos.
Yeah.
But then, after that, beginning of this year, we got Black Panther.
Yeah, February of this year, Black Panther graced our screens, which... I mean, I talked about when we were doing Phase 2 last week.
Yeah.
I think it's the best. I think it's the best movie. I know you don't agree.
I don't, and I mean, part of that is because don't get me wrong, great script, great actors, great acting. I love Wakanda. The setting is fantastic, but it's also like a very cliche, very easy to follow, like medieval political drama in the same way of like Braveheart.
I get that.
Like noble families switch sides at exactly where you'd expect them to, kind of situation. Like it didn't wow me with something new and fresh.
I get
kind
that
of situation.
But I feel like all superhero movies have a little bit of predictability.
Well, for sure, but I mean that's part of the
good
reason.
guys are going to win, bad guys are going to lose.
But I mean that's still part of the reason. Like Winter Soldier is my favorite because I didn't expect this hardcore political drama that if you remove all the superhero elements from is still a great film.
I'm not denying that at all.
That blew me away,
Yeah.
and like they haven't been able to top that for me
Yeah.
yet.
But regardless, where it is on your list,
it is a fantastic movie.
It's so good.
The characters are wonderful, and legitimately, my only complaint is one of the few times, like, you know, like, I get it's a movie, we're not going to go full comic book, but, like, a white ape suit would have been cool.
Yeah, the great ape.
I just
M'Baku's.
There are some of those like comic booky moments like I really want, and we don't get them, and I'm not mad because it would be real goofy. I get it.
Also, it leaves M'Baku in their back pocket to be a villain in the future,
right?
Because he is a villain in the comics.
Yeah,
right. So I mean, he's
so
on the side right now.
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
Maybe someday we'll get that white ape costume.
He senses weakness, or he doesn't like the way T'Challa leads.
Yeah,
and he rises up.
Maybe another challenge day comes up, and
Wow.
and it doesn't go T'Challa's way.
But obviously, Black Panther. I mean, we've been waiting for that one since getting introduced to T'Challa back at the beginning of this phase in Civil War.
Yeah,
finally getting to see it. Finally getting to see how they realized Wakanda was just mind blowing.
Yeah.
I mean, as this kind of technological and also still very tribal people that are clearly superior technologically to the rest of the world.
Blend of what's it called, Afrofuturism.
Yeah, but because you still have the people like the Riverlands people who they're just taking care of animals and guarding the border. That's their job.
They just do their thing.
Yeah.
Like sure, they get definitely some benefits that are like more secluded away in case anybody walks up because they are
people flying over or traveling. They just see a tribal society.
A very simple life in a hut, regardless.
Yeah.
Like, but they're cool with it because
it's all part of being Wakandan.
Yeah, they got a simple life that they enjoy, and that's the key here is a simple life. They're not greedy. I think that's the big thing. Yeah, they're not greedy at all.
No. They just there's the thought among them that if you let people know and if you let people come, their problems come with them, and we don't have problems.
Right.
But I think the nature of Black Panther as a movie introduces those problems and shows them why their way is wrong.
Dude, that's why one of the things I do really like is like if you really look at the film, like for the most part, like Killmonger is presented as the villain and he's kind of crazy, but in retrospect, like he's kind of the hero and T'Challa is kind of the enemy until T'Challa changes his mind around.
Right.
Like that's
takes
the
Killmonger.
message of that movie.
Yeah, it takes Killmonger to show him
it's wrong. Right. Yeah. Because if they had helped maybe a world like the one we have that creates people like Killmonger, wouldn't have happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it definitely has the flip-flopping, which, works really well within its narrative and sets up, I feel like, especially with some of the major people leaving, after these films are done, I feel like Wakanda is going to become central. And I think we talked about that back when we reviewed it as well. But I feel like it's going to become a pretty central location
absolutely.
from here on out.
Absolutely.
So even when we're not doing a Black Panther movie, we're still going to have, Shuri and the Dora Milaje and these Wakandan people.
I can't wait for Shuri and Peter Parker and Tony Stark to all be in a room together. I need that. I super need that. Also, I need honestly, Peter Parker to take Shuri on a date and have to like pick her up from T'Challa's house. I need that moment.
Did they date in the comics?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
But since Black Panther came out, there's been a bunch of like, I don't want to call it slash fiction, but a bunch of people like shipping
I mean, I feel like
Shuri and Petey Parker.
You can call it slash fiction.
No, because that gets into a weird borderline. But a lot of people shipping Shuri and Peter, like, yeah, no, that'd be cute.
Sure,
I'd be down.
Yeah,
I want him to pick him up from T'Challa.
nah,
It'd be great.
see, I don't feel like Zendaya would be okay with that. So
Oh God, no!
I feel like,
But that's
I feel
part
like we
of
just
why
let that relationship grow.
I
Let
mean-
that relationship, the high school relationship, grow.
That's fair.
But
They can be
yeah,
pen pals, and share technology notes.
we talked about this in the review also. But Black Panther, it really, like a couple of the other movies, really doesn't try too hard to set up things beyond its own narrative.
No, it super told its own story, and I mean, like was super apparent, if not during the film, afterwards when the director was talking about why the Soul Stone didn't show
Yeah.
up. Like he didn't want it there because
No,
they already had their thing with vibranium. We didn't need another thing.
We don't need more rocks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't need another thing.
We got enough
like
rocks.
we already had our story going on.
Yeah.
So like, and we didn't need much more setup, honestly, for Infinity War at this point.
No, I
like,
think
we
that-
already know it's coming.
Yeah, I think that all the phases have accurately prepared me for what I'm about to witness and hyped me to the point where, did you see that the pre-sale record was shattered in like 6 hours?
Yeah,
They shattered the pre-sale record in 6 hours.
I know.
Not
Wow.
days, hours they shattered it. Like, that is just ridiculous.
A little bit.
And so that brings us full circle. I mean, our road to the Infinity War is complete. We are very close at this point to Infinity War, and I hope that you'll all be there as well. Because this is going to change the world, man.
No, if you live in St. Louis, come see it with us.
Yeah, what are we doing? 7:30?
7:30 at the
on
Mills.
preview night on Thursday.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we're probably going to go again on Friday. I know I am. I don't know about you. But
I probably could afterward.
yeah, we definitely go
We should
again.
be-
I might go again in the afternoon and then go again with you after work.
I mean, that's
that might
fine.
be a thing we have to do.
That's fine. We'll take notebooks to that showing so we can write down notes for the review.
For
that,
a review.
that we'll do that weekend.
Because Joe will be joining me for the Infinity War review.
Yeah, apparently I'm the movie review guy.
You are. I mean, the movie reviews we've done have been great. That's also going to be our premiere of Season 3, so watch out for that. We're bringing Season 2 to a close. We're going to start Season 3 off with an Infinity War review with me and Joe. So thanks again to Joe for sitting with me a few weeks here doing this MCU Road to the Infinity War.
For having me.
Yeah,
It went by a lot faster than I thought it was gonna.
Sure, we're all
But
done now.
It's been a good couple weeks.
It has.
3 weeks.
It has. So if you dig what we're doing here and you wanna check out more of the content that we have, head on over to entertainthegeeky.com. We've got the blog post there. We've got the merch. We've got all the shows. If Facebook is more your speed, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/entertainmentgeeky. If you like Twitter and that's more what you're into and how you follow us, that's awesome. We can be found at Entertain Geeky. And if you want to chat with me about what your perspective is going into Infinity War, what you think, shoot me an email at etgnerdnews@gmail.com. Thanks again to Joe, and we're going to see you guys next week. And until then, stay geeky.